There comes a moment in life when you have to ask yourself, am I really giving it everything I've got? Not just in your career, your relationships, or your ambitions, but in the way you show up every single day. Your life is a direct reflection of the standards you set for yourself. Not your wishes, not your dreams, your standards. Because we don't get what we want in life, we get what we're willing to tolerate. I think everybody wants success, however it's defined. You may want financial freedom, great health, fulfilling relationships, but look around. If it were just about wanting, wouldn't more people have it? The difference is in the standard. Some people see excellence as optional, while others see it as a non-negotiable. Some accept excuses, while others demand results. The question is, what type of person are you? Look at the areas of your life where you feel stuck, where you feel frustrated, where you know deep down that you're settling for less than you're capable of. Now ask yourself, what am I tolerating here? Are you tolerating negative self-talk? Are you tolerating poor discipline? Are you tolerating an environment that drains you? Because the moment you raise your standard, that's the moment everything starts to shift. When you decide that being out of shape is no longer acceptable, your body changes. When you decide that mediocrity in your career is no longer acceptable, your work ethic changes. When you decide that toxic relationships are no longer acceptable, your boundaries change. Nothing changes until you demand more from yourself. Your standards shape your identity. Your standards define who you are. If you say you're someone who values excellence, but you let yourself cut corners, that's not a high standard. That's just a hopeful idea. A person with high standards doesn't talk about them, they live them. If you truly hold yourself to a standard of discipline, you don't skip workouts because you're tired. If you have a standard for self-respect, you don't stay in places where you're unappreciated. If you set a standard for success, you don't let failure break you. You use it as fuel. It's not about being perfect. It's about refusing to accept less than what you know you're capable of. People can sense the difference between someone who's half in and someone who's all in. Think about the athletes who demand excellence from themselves every day. The business leaders who never stop learning. The artists who refuse to settle for average work. They don't just show up when they feel like it. They show up because their standard requires them to. And when you carry yourself with that same level of commitment, the world responds. Opportunities find you. The right people respect you. I know it's easy to point fingers when things go wrong. I know it's tempting to blame others, our circumstances, or the resources we don't have. But let's be real, blaming doesn't change anything. It doesn't fix the problem, it doesn't move us forward, and it doesn't make life any better. Blaming is a trap that keeps you stuck. You know what's hard? Owning it. Taking responsibility for where we are, even when it's uncomfortable. But that's where the magic happens. See, change begins when we stop blaming and start owning. When we stop telling ourselves lies like, it's not my fault, or if only I had more support, and instead say, what can I do to change this? Let's get something straight. Nobody has lied to you more than you've lied to yourself. We all do it. We tell ourselves stories to justify why we're not where we want to be. Like, I didn't have the right connections. I wasn't given the same opportunities. If only they hadn't done this to me. But the truth is, those are just excuses. And every time you buy into them, you hand over your power. You give your life away to circumstances and other people. The good news is the moment you take ownership, everything changes. Ownership is empowering. It says, no matter what has happened to me, I still have control over how I respond. And I can choose to learn, adapt, and rise. Some of the most successful people in the world didn't start with perfect circumstances. Oprah Winfrey was born into poverty, abused as a child, and faced rejection after rejection in her career. She could have blamed her past, her lack of resources, or the people who told her she'd never make it. But instead, she took ownership. She decided her circumstances wouldn't define her, and she built a legacy that inspires millions. You see, blaming is like sitting in a sinking boat and arguing about who poked the holes. Ownership is grabbing a bucket and bailing out the water. Ownership is saying, this is my boat and I'm not going to let it sink. When you take ownership, you start to see challenges differently. Instead of being problems, they become puzzles to solve. Instead of feeling powerless, you feel capable. You realize that the only person who controls your destiny is you. Nobody's coming to save you. No knight in shining armor, no magical windfall, no perfect opportunity will suddenly appear to fix everything. That's okay, because you don't need saving. You need action. You need to take the reins and steer your life in the direction you want to go. Start by asking yourself the hard questions. Where have you been blaming others? Where have you been making excuses? Be honest with yourself. It's the first step to breaking free. Then ask yourself, what can I do right now to take ownership of the situation? It doesn't have to be a big step, but it has to be yours. Remember, life isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Every time you choose ownership over blame, you grow stronger. Every time you take responsibility, you take back your power. And over time, those small, consistent actions lead to massive change. So stop blaming and start owning. Own your past, own your mistakes, and own your future. Because at the end of the day, your life is yours to build. No more lies, no more excuses, no more waiting. The power to change is already in your hands. Use it. Success is not something you chase, it's something you attract by becoming valuable. In every arena, whether it's sports, business, relationships, or life itself, the rewards go to those who bring the most value. Not the loudest, not the flashiest, but the ones who consistently show up and offer something meaningful to the table. Value is what sets you apart. It's the edge that makes you indispensable. You don't become valuable by demanding recognition, attention, or opportunities. You become valuable by working on yourself, sharpening your skills, and offering something that no one else can. The most valuable players in sports aren't the ones who talk about greatness. It's the ones who put in the hours, perfect their crafts, and lift the team when it matters most. In business, the most successful companies aren't chasing trends. They're creating solutions, solving problems, and making life easier for their customers. The principle is universal. If you want success, focus on what you're bringing, not what you're getting. But becoming valuable isn't easy. It requires effort, discipline, and a willingness to grow. It means looking in the mirror and asking yourself, what can I offer that no one else can? Or how can I improve today so I'm better tomorrow? These are tough questions, but they're the ones that lead to greatness. Value starts with mastery. Master your craft, your role, your strengths. If you're an athlete, train harder. If you're in business, study the market, understand your customers, and find innovative ways to serve. Whatever your field, become a student of excellence. The world doesn't reward mediocrity. It rewards those who've committed to being the best version of themselves. And here's another truth. Value is also about character. It's not just what can you do. It's about how you show up. Are you dependable? Are you a problem solver? Are you the kind of person people want to work with, follow, or be around? Value is as much about who you are as it is about what you can produce. Now let's address the temptation to chase success. Many people spend their lives running after opportunities, trying to grab what they think they deserve. But chasing is exhausting and it often leads nowhere. Instead, focus on becoming so good, so skilled, so valuable that success can't ignore you. When you're valuable, the opportunities will find you. Understand that the world rewards value. It rewards unique skills, ideas, and energy. Don't wait for someone to give you a chance. Create your own. Don't sit back and hope for success to knock on your door. Become the kind of person success seeks out. So how do you start? Commit to constant improvement. Look for ways to serve others. Focus on contribution rather than competition. And remember, value isn't built in a day. It's built daily through small, consistent actions that lead to extraordinary results. Success doesn't come to those who want it. It comes to those who earn it by becoming valuable. So stop chasing, start becoming. Build yourself into the kind of person who adds so much to the world that the rewards naturally flow to you. Your time, your energy, your focus, they're your investments. And the more you invest in becoming valuable, the more the world will invest in you. A lot of people talk about wanting more out of life, more success, more wealth, more happiness. But talk is cheap, and life doesn't just hand you these things. Success is not going to walk through the door, sit beside you and say, "Here I am." No, success is earned, and it's attracted to people who invest in themselves with everything they've got. So if you want more, you have to become more. You have to do more than you're doing right now. You have to be the one willing to go where others won't and willing to put in more than you think you have to get what you truly want. There's this common misconception that success only happens to the lucky ones. But the reality is it happens to the driven ones, the ones who understand that to get something you've never had, you need to do something you've never done. Because success is out there, waiting for the person who will rise up. So step out of your comfort zone and go after it relentlessly. This isn't just about working harder, it's about becoming the person that attracts success. So look around, real success, lasting success. It happens when people commit to raising their own standards. They don't sit around hoping or wishing. No. They set a higher bar for themselves and go beyond the ordinary. They bring value into the world. Success is naturally drawn to those who add something valuable to every space they enter, who walk in and make things better for everyone around them. So think about how much value are you really bringing? Are you just going through the motions, or are you giving the world a reason to notice you? Because when you become valuable, you attract value. And that means not waiting for the perfect moment or the right conditions. It's about understanding that now is the time. There is no such thing as the right time. The right time is whenever you decide to move. Whatever it is you want, whatever dreams you're carrying around, You have to become the magnet with every ounce of energy, every fiber of courage, and every bit of determination you have. It's easy to sit on the sidelines and watch others achieve. But greatness belongs to those who are in the game, the ones who refuse to let fear or doubt stop them from chasing what they want. Growth is about consistency, to show up day in, day out, whether it's easy or not. It's about the steady push, little things done repeatedly, the constant improvement. Yes, it takes time. Yes, it's a process. But if you commit to it, if you trust that your work is making you into something, that effort will pay off in ways you can't even imagine. When you keep at it, when you refuse to give up, you're already a step ahead of those who quit halfway. Persistence becomes your power, and with enough persistence, success will find you. Here's what I want you to know. If you want more, be more. Be the person who goes beyond the ordinary. Be the one who delivers more, who serves more, who is willing to risk more to get where they want to go. Don't settle for mediocrity when there's so much greatness waiting to be achieved. Attract success like it's the only thing that matters. Because when you do, when you become more, life will meet you right there. What if I told you that the way you start your morning determines the kind of day you'll have? Your mornings are like a launching pad. Get them right, and the rest of the day aligns. But here's the secret. Having productive mornings isn't about being perfect. It's about adopting simple, consistent habits that set you up for success. Let's explore 5 powerful morning habits that you can practice to make each day more productive and purposeful. Number 1, get moving. Even if it's just a little, starting your day with some physical activity activates both your body and your mind. Whether it's a quick stretch, a brisk walk, or a 20-minute workout, moving your body jumpstarts your energy levels. Exercise not only improves your mood, but it also sharpens your focus for the rest of the day, helping you tackle tasks with more clarity. Number 2, soak in the sunlight. Getting outside or letting the natural light in tells your brain, hey, it's time to wake up. Exposure to morning light resets your internal clock, making you feel more alert and less sluggish. A few minutes outside, even if it's just sipping coffee on your porch, makes a huge difference in setting a positive tone for the day. Number 3, practice gratitude or mindful moments. The mind has a natural tendency to focus on the negative. It's wired that way for survival, but when you take a moment to breathe and express gratitude, even for small things, you rewire your brain. Whether it's a quick meditation, a gratitude journal entry, or simply affirming, today will be a good day. These mindful practices help you stay grounded. Number 4, make your bed and organize your space. It might seem trivial, but making your bed in the morning gives you an immediate sense of accomplishment. It's a small task that creates momentum for the rest of your day. When your environment is neat, your mind feels clearer, leaving you more focused to take on the bigger challenges ahead. And finally, number 5, plan your day with purpose. Planning doesn't have to be rigid, but having a rough idea of your goals makes a world of difference. Take a moment to jot down what you want to achieve. Whether it's a big task or a small one, having a plan gives your day direction and ensures you're in control rather than reacting to everything around you. Each of these habits is simple on its own, but together they build a routine that fuels success. Consistency is the key. Some days will be harder than others, But the more you practice these habits, the easier it becomes. So what will you do tomorrow morning? Will you roll out of bed and let the day happen to you? Or will you take charge, one habit at a time, to shape your future? It starts with small steps, but those small steps will take you far. Make tomorrow count. You know what? It's time to take the wheel. It's time to finally get in the driver's seat and take control of your life. Far too often we go through life feeling like victims of circumstance. We blame our past, we blame other people, or even fate for where we are. But I'll remind you, you are not a victim. You are the driver of your life. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but I didn't choose my struggles, or I can't control what happens to me. And you're right, life isn't always fair. There are going to be challenges and setbacks and moments where everything feels out of control. But while you can't always choose what happens, you can always choose how you respond, and that's where the power lies. The problem is when you see yourself as a victim, you give up that power. You let circumstances dictate your decisions. You let fear and doubt make choices for you. But what if instead of waiting for things to change, you decided to change? Life's like a car. You can either be in the driver's seat or the passenger seat. In the driver's seat, you have control. You steer, you accelerate, you decide where to go. But in the passenger seat, you're just along for the ride, hoping things will get better, hoping the road will be smooth. But hope isn't a strategy, action is. Now, steering your life doesn't mean you won't hit bumps in the road. There's going to be detours, and sometimes you're going to feel lost. But as long as you have your hands on the wheel, you can always course correct. You can always get back on track. Take a moment and ask yourself, where have I been living like a passenger? What areas of my life have I let drift without direction? Maybe it's in your career or your health. Maybe it's your relationships, or maybe it's your mindset. Whatever it is, today's the day to grab the wheel. As we've so often heard, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is the mindset of a driver, not a passenger. It's about taking responsibility for your life, no matter what cards you've been dealt. It's about realizing that every moment is a chance to take control. And when you start to steer your life, amazing things happen. You stop making excuses. You stop blaming others. And you start taking action. You realize that you are not powerless. You're capable. You're strong. And you are the author of your story. Stop being a passenger in your own life. Don't wait for things to get better. Don't wait for someone else to change your situation. You're the one with the power, and you're the one who can make it happen. It's time to take the wheel. Do you consider yourself strong? And you can frame my question any way you like, be it physical strength or mental strength. Take a minute right now to give yourself a self-evaluation. But consider this. What made you strong? If it's the physical strength you've been pondering, what made those muscles? If it was your mental strength, what brought on your inner power? I'll answer both of these questions because in each case, what made you stronger was resistance. See, you didn't build those muscles unless you were lifting or pushing something heavy. You needed the resistance to force those muscles to grow. That mental strength you've got, Well, it came from overcoming experiences or reframing past experiences to your advantage. When life brought you challenges, you took them on and they made you stronger. And that's where I want to go with this video. Because so many of us try to avoid the very things that ultimately will make us stronger. We try to avoid the resistance because it's uncomfortable. But we forget that this temporary pain will only make us stronger in the long run. It's all about how we view the situation. If I want bigger muscles, I have to hit the weights and do the uncomfortable things. Because what'll happen is the muscles will repair and they'll grow bigger. There's no other way. Same thing for mental strength. I can't skip the uncomfortable situations and think that I'll be better off for it. No, the way to build that mental muscle is to go through what is uncomfortable. Because when I do, after the dust has settled, I'll see that I've survived. And now I have the knowledge and experience that these situations have brought me. The reason we try to avoid growth, be it physical or mental, is because it's uncomfortable. We've attached pain to it. What we forget to see is that beyond the pain, well, there lies the pleasure. There lies the growth we'll get by having gone through the pain. Take a minute right now and think about the things you've been putting off. Maybe it's going to the gym, or it's a project that you keep delaying because you're not sure where to start. What pain have you attached to it? Write it down. Let it sink in. Now, write down what pleasure you'll get by taking action now. Feel it enter your body. Remember that you've overcome so much already, and all of it has made you stronger. This next chapter is no different. These little challenges or obstacles you're facing right now, well, they're nothing but the resistance you need to build the strengths that'll make you even more powerful in the end. There's a reason why planes take off against the wind. It's because they need the resistance to climb higher, and you are no different. Today's pain is tomorrow's pleasure. Take it on. Your future self will thank you. I'm going to try and say this as delicately as I can. You are not your past. Let me repeat that. You are not your past. What's happened is done and gone. For any of that to exist in the present moment is a choice you are making. I'm bringing this up because I had a conversation with a friend recently that made me pause and take a step back. What occurred to me is that we sometimes see people very differently than how they see themselves. From the outside, we may see a confident, well put together individual who's overcome many obstacles. I'll call this the victor. Yet when they look in the mirror, they'll see a very different person, one with flaws and is lacking all that we see as an observer. I'll call this the victim. How you interpret your past will make you either the victim or the victor in the present. Your past does not have to define you. That's a choice that you get to make. You can choose to hold on and be the victim, or you can choose to learn and let go and be the victor. I'll give you the example of two boys raised by an alcoholic and abusive father. Both boys sharing the exact same experiences in their upbringing, then later going on to having families of their own. The one boy, now man, goes on to repeating the patterns that he learned growing up, becoming an alcoholic and abusive partner. When asked how this happened, he explains, "How could I not? Look at the way I was raised." Meanwhile, the other boy, now man, with his family, he's a loving, considerate partner who's never had a drop of alcohol. When asked how this happened, he explains, How could I not? Look at the way I was raised. The first boy continues to see himself as a victim. He carries that identity into the present. It's infiltrated his psyche to the point that his actions and behaviors are ingrained in his identity. He's an alcoholic. He's abusive. He's still the victim of his upbringing. The other boy, now man, identifies completely different than his brother. Although he experienced the exact same upbringing, he identifies as the victor. He learned what not to do by seeing how his father behaved. He vowed never to be the same. Two boys, same experiences, different identities. We become victors when we learn from our experiences. We become victors when we accept that we did not have control over our experiences, only how we view those experiences. See, it's not the experiences that made you who you are today, but it's how you interpreted those experiences. So let me ask you, what role do you want to play in the story of your life? Because there are many chapters left to be written. Like any great novel or movie, the best plots have twists and turns, and the outcomes are rarely predictable. Your story is no different. Just when you think you know where the journey is headed, you can pick a different course. You can be the victim, but I'd suggest that audiences love the victors more.